So, welcome to Conversations with Tenzin. I'm doing this podcast because I meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of wonderful people on campus and in my life. So, I don't want to forget the people and their stories, especially their stories. So, today I have my very good friend Heba from Egypt, and she's also one of the Humphrey SPURS Fellows. So, Heba, welcome.
Welcome, Tenzin, and thank you very much for the podcast. And it's been a very exhaustive work for you, I know, but I know you're also enjoying the discussions with everyone. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much for taking time and agreeing to do this. So I would like to begin by asking, I'm curious to know your story, your journey so far. How have you reached where you are right now? Who is Heba? Heba Shoaib.
I think this question is going to be something that I'll be thinking about my whole life. So saying who is Heba is something that I personally always try to understand. And I think it's good, or I'm happy that I'm giving myself this space to really understand who I am and what really defines me. And I think it's a very difficult question, but I think life put me in many interesting places, and I'm really grateful to everything that life has put me through. So I'm an Egyptian woman, let's say.
Strong woman.
Strong woman. I'm originally an architect. I studied architecture, but I found my way through urban design and urban planning, and I'm also assistant professor, so I also teach. And I think working between academia and practice is something that I find defining me now. It's part of my existence, and I find my passion in both. But I'm also a person very much interested into art, and what made me get into architecture is my passion for drawing. So I like to draw so much, and through architecture has been more of a profession, but I genuinely like to draw whenever I can. I like to draw trees and like to draw nature, and so I have this love for art, and I think it does get into me into doing many of my work, but it's something that I believe is also part of me. And I'm an equestrian, so yes. I like horse riding.
That's the first thing we noticed about you. Remember when we were first introduced to all the fellows, we had to read each other's profile.
Yes.
And there was something interesting that but I noticed about you. And I didn't even know that term before. And I looked it up, and it says, a hobby or passion for horse riding. Yes. That was very interesting about you.
Yes. I love horses, and I grew up learning how to ride horses. So I'm Egyptian, but I was not born in Egypt. I was born in Libya, and I lived there for 14 years. And I learned how to do horseback riding when I was very young. I don't know how to swim, and I don't know how to ride a bike, but I can ride horses. And I loved horses so much. I mean, I learned how to connect with them and how to groom them and how to feed them, and they're amazing creatures. And it's just like being on the horse and being connected and giving this tap to make sure that we're one team and we're getting this together, and this synchronization, it's just very enriching. It gives me this feeling that nothing else that I do gives it to me, and it's very challenging. And so I did horseback riding until I was 14, and then when I came back to Egypt, I stopped, and I went back at the age of 39, which is not easy, but I think my body had the memory, and I had this passion and will to do that. And I also do jumping, which I didn't do when I was young, and which is very difficult, and I fall a lot, but I think it's part of my challenge. It gives me a lot. I mean, connection with the horse. I'm grateful to all the horses that gave me this opportunity to be with them and to do this jump and to do this journey with them. So this is something that I'm happy that I came back to, and I'm happy to continue, and I'm looking forward to go back to Egypt to do that.
I was wondering, did you have any challenges? Did you face challenges to become an architect in Egypt?
I mean, I was I wanted to be an architect when I was in fifth grade, and
Oh, that
yes,
early.
that
You were
early
so clear. I don't know what
because
I
I
wanted
love
to be
drawing.
when I was fifth grade.
It was weird because I love drawing and I like math so much, and I was like, so this is something architects can do together, and I had this vision. Even when I came back to Egypt and I was choosing the university to go to, I was choosing the ones that were known for architecture. And when I entered the first preparatory year that we have at university, you get to choose the specialization. And then many of my friends went to another department or unit, which was communications. Like, all my friends are going there. I want to be with them. And I was going to change at some point, but then I went back to I wanted to be an architect, so I'll be an architect.
You went back to your first true love.
Yes, I was really loyal to that. And I mean, architecture is an amazing field because it gets you into different forms of design and thinking. And it's like you learn about urban design, you learn about urban planning, you learn about photography, you learn about interior design and different forms of art. So it opens up a whole new world into arts and building and cities and environments. So I'm grateful to that type of education. And architecture profession in Egypt is not easy. But I also I worked in architecture design when I worked as an architect, but it wasn't fulfilling to me, into my passion, into working with communities and working for communities and doing this form of community development. And I think this is what got me more into urban design. Is so that's how I diverted from architecture to urban design and planning, because I don't want to be only designing houses or nice buildings or iconic buildings. I want to use my design capabilities to solve issues and challenges and to make a daily life for one person better, passing from one place to the other, or approaching their schools or hospitals. Or I find my passion in that, and I find this is what gets me up and gets me to work, because I know I can help into making some part of people's life better if I can help in that. And I find more value for myself in that. And I think also that what makes me enjoy teaching, because I learn a lot from my students and they give me the opportunity to just share whatever knowledge I have, and trying to work with them to see what's the right track to do things. And it's very rewarding because it has this exchange and it has this human interaction. And if some of my students find a better way or can improve their capabilities or skills in something, I feel grateful that I had an opportunity to be part of that. And I think that's the value of work in general. If it's not useful for someone, then it's I don't feel you're doing the real impact in the world. So.
We've had this amazing 10 months program. So how has this changed you? I mean, the Heba that you were in August last year and the Heba that you're now, and as a person, as an architect, so how have you changed? What do you see after 10 months?
I see myself in the world, and that's beyond. I mean, I'm a person very much devoted to Egypt, and I am still there. And but my focus was very much on local challenges and local issues. And now I feel like I'm more connected to other parts of the world and more connected to the region where I am. And I feel that I do have a role to play within this broader perspective, and not only within the local context of Egypt. And I think also this helps in working on the local context of Egypt. And so I think reaching out and connecting more to my region and to the world, and seeing the impact of improving cities, even if nations are still evolving, cities can do more progress sometimes than nations. And I think this idea of how cities could be connected worldwide beyond our borders, and how they can work together to strive to be in a better place, I think this is something that has changed. And I don't know how this could be more into like actual change, but this is like my mindset now. It's how to be further connected and not only looking on my local context. And also, I value very much more the slowing down, even though it was not that much of a slowing down, but this time where you come out of your life and just you look from outside and see, like, take time, rest, look at the world, see what's happening, and not only get yourself engaged into these day-to-day conflicts and issues, because they will always be there. Nothing will change. Actually, by time things get harder, but I think it's our own decision to just step back and have this rest and give more time to more valuable things in life. And this year, a big part of it was about this. You have to step away from your life and look at it differently, and just teaches you how to do this on a longer term, I think.
I think I felt the same way too,
Yes.
because it was an amazing year of reflection,
Yes.
introspection, and I think we were lost in our daily grind. I mean, most of the fellows that we have interacted with all had the same story of being burnt out.
Yes.
So I think this was a good opportunity for us to just step back
Yes.
and make sense of what we're actually doing.
Yes, I think so. I think it's something that we should remind ourselves with a lot, because the pace of life is how we decide it will go, and it's not. I mean, time is very different for everyone, and we felt that this year went so fast, and for other people it might have went really slow, and it's really relative, and I think we have a big role into defining the space as much as we can, of course, because we're going to be back to our normal life and our normal challenges, and doing this is going to be much more difficult. But if we learn that, we may try to remind ourselves, like, every now and then it's important to do so.
And so now, how are you planning to, what is your plan going forward now that we have had this amazing experience and that we have grown as an individual and as a person? So what are your plans going forward?
I think I'll always be in the space between practice and academia. What I'm doing in both, I think, is this is the thing that's going to be evolving and changing. And I came here with this aim of having my own practice, and I think it's still there. But what this practice is going to do is what I'm thinking about and working on now. And having a regional reach out, I think, is going to be a big part of it, and being more focused and more specialized. This is something maybe that I didn't have enough time to think about, but I think I have no better tools and I'm more enabled to think about it. So I'll be thinking about that within the next couple of months or years, to, like, how this practice could be better connected and how it also links to academia, because I like to always keep this link on whatever I'm doing on the ground and getting it back to university, and, like, teaching what I believe should be done in cities or in the built environment. And I think my practice should have a role in that, and as many people are doing, but I'm just trying to find my place within that. But definitely, I want it to be further connected to other cities, because we have a lot to learn from each other. We have many beautiful contexts and many beautiful stories, and we learn from each other, so we shouldn't be that much enclosed. So I think I need to have further thought on this practice and its role and how it's going to be, but maybe the picture is a bit better, but it's still not yet on the ground, so I'll be working on that.
So I'd like to wish you all the best. And I know that you are going to go out there and do some amazing things. I'll always be trying to get updates of what you're doing. So yeah, my last question to you is, this is something that I have asked all the fellows, all my friends, and whoever I have conversation with. My last question is always, what motivates you? What keeps you going? What gets you out of the bed every morning, and what makes you do the things that you do every day? So what motivates you?
I think it's going to be a very typical answer, but it may be true to a lot of people. It's my passion towards what I do. If I don't have my heart in it, it doesn't get me up. I mean, I could be very tired and very exhausted and But if I believe in it so much and I love it and like I really have my heart in it, I would get on my feet however I'm tired and just go for it. And also, if it has the value that I believe in and I try to like remind myself what it is, it gets me on my feet. So, and there's this quote that I love for Van Gogh that says, "What is done in love is done well." And I think it. I always remember it, and I always tell it to my students because, like, if you're not interested and you don't love what you're doing and you don't have your heart in it, it will be a work without a soul, without this feeling, and it shows. I mean, and that's how I enjoy my work and my teaching. My work environment and my teaching environment are very important for me because if I have a nice studio, and because I teach design and we have nice projects, but we don't have this bond, and me and my students didn't enjoy the experience, for me that's a failure because that's not the aim of it. They will remember this more than anything else. So yeah, that's what gets me up. And if I lose it, no matter what type of work I do, I won't have the motivation, and I can't do this 9 to 5 consistent job that I'm just doing my work and leaving it. It's more exhausting to go the other way, but it gets me on my feet.
So thank you so much for making time and having this conversation with me. I know we have had numerous conversations, but we didn't have anything recorded, so this is going to be a wonderful memory. And this is exactly why I'm doing this podcast. I want to capture my friends and the wonderful people that I have met through this journey of learning. That's the reason why I'm doing this, and thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you for doing that. And as you know, this is my last day in Boston, so like hearing this and knowing this is what I had in mind and what I said at my last day in Boston in this year.
And when you look back to this, or when you listen to this podcast again, after a couple of years down the line, maybe you'll see another growth in you. So it'll be a kind of a benchmark.
I hope I'm still an equestrian though. Let's hope
so too.
Yes.
I'll look out for that.
Yes. Thank you.
So thank you for listening to Conversations with Tenzin. Like I said, the reason why I do this is I meet a lot of interesting, wonderful, amazing friends and people on campus and in my life. So I don't want to forget the people and their stories, especially their stories. So this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast. So thank you so much for listening to this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.